If you're watching on YouTube, hello, hi. I haven't been posting here in a bit. That's because I don't really have like edited stuff to upload. It just like I never have time. Like there's so many things I want to work on, and just I never have time for it anymore. But I have been live streaming on Twitch, on YouTube, even on a different YouTube channel at youtube.com/@tillplayslive. If you want to see live streams there, it's fine. Understand. I also been live streaming on Instagram as well. So Instagram.com. Why am I saying .com? Go to Instagram @tillplays. Also, I was afraid that my Instagram account was going to shut down, and therefore Threads as well, because they're kind of like tied in. But I'm also posting on Threads. Um, so I have alternate accounts now. So I think I think at I can't remember the Quick Attack account I made. I think it's at Quick Attack TV, or there might have been a reason why I couldn't use that, so I used something else. But Quick Attack something. There's a pinned story on my main Instagram. So you can see the alternate accounts, and there's a backup account as well. But yeah, been live streaming there. Been doing podcasts for Spawn Trap. So youtube.com/@SpawnTrapGames if you want to see the podcast stuff. We are about to release a new Marvel podcast that we just recorded that is almost 4 hours long. 4 hours long. We had a lot to talk about. But we talked about the second half of What If, because talked about the first half of the previous episode. We talked about The Marvels, the latest movie from Marvel that's out. Not not counting Madam Web. We haven't seen Madam Web yet. We talked about Echo. We talked about a whole bunch of news. Actually, today after the fact that we recorded the podcast, there's a trailer for X-Men '97. There's more details about that animated show as well. But I didn't look too far into that because I've been busy today. So I didn't get to see this live, and we didn't do a reaction for it for Spawn Chat because it seemed odd to do a reaction video for a podcast. So I didn't really know like how we wanted to handle that, and we never figured it out. I didn't go beyond the discussion by saying like, hey, this is a thing. So I'm like, I'm just gonna react to it and talk about it on my own channel because I'm gonna be live streaming later. I'm gonna be too busy to watch this. I'm gonna be watching it after the fact. So why not just watch it before my live stream, and then we'll see what it is, and then we'll talk about it. Also, this isn't a games showcase. This is going to be a bunch of Xbox executives, of which a lot of them just got promoted. They have new jobs, they have new titles, and stuff like that. And this is after the fact of the Activision Blizzard acquisition, so a lot of things have shifted around. There's a lot of layoffs, which I was expecting, but it's always shitty to see. But especially coming from Activision Blizzard, Xbox is supposed to be seen as the saviors of the awful workplace and constant layoffs. But this is any acquisition you expect layoffs, right? So that happened, and now we're seeing Xbox is in the news because stuff has been leaked, saying like, "Hey, big major exclusive titles, not like the biggest titles, but notable ones." The rumor that they're going to be on rival or competitive platforms, to which I've seen the internet freak out. But when I saw it, I'm like, "Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Those titles make sense on other platforms, the ones that were rumored." Also, was this not clearly Xbox's strategy for the past several years? I don't know how nobody's been paying attention. They pretty much have been saying, "Hey, we don't consider ourselves like competition in the hardware space anymore. We clearly lost that fight. That's why we're investing so much in Game Pass and getting all these different titles and studios and stuff like that. Because we want to be back where Microsoft is known for, the software, and now the subscriptions, because they also have Microsoft 365. I think there's like Teams, no, Team subscription is like part of 365. I think, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of Microsoft subscriptions. This is what they do now. Everything's subscription based. um so yeah, that's their plan to make the money. And you know what? If they're making these great games and nobody's playing them because nobody's buying the platform, release the games on other platforms, right? I think they've pretty much said in interviews and in courts, during the acquisition thing, that They don't they don't care about the hardware space. They're just making the hardware to say that they're in that space. They're not, you know, they're not in competition with Sony. Sony's the clear winner, and they're way ahead of. And I think like even like recent numbers and stuff of sales comparing the two consoles, you can clearly see, yeah, more people are buying PlayStations than Xboxes. Um, but people, hello, hello, sure, reality. I don't know if I want to have the chat up for this video. Let's go to the full screen thing here, because this is gonna be uploaded on YouTube here. Um, yeah, I don't know. It seems like that. Yeah, this has been their strategy for years, and they've been clear about it. It's like we don't see ourselves in the space. We're the subscription software people now. We just make the consoles to say we're in we're like we're part of the gaming discussion, right? So, um, so yeah. Well, you came to the wrong place. Sure, reality. Anyways, let's start. Let's start with this here, and we will see. We'll see what we're missing. Now, a good
Hello and welcome to
thing
the
to note
official
is the
Xbox
ESRB
podcast.
rating. I'll be pausing at points because I was expecting this to be like no more than an hour. It's much less than an hour. It's 22 minutes, but I'm gonna be pausing it at points. So it's not just like a straight rip of the podcast because I'm sure I'll get in trouble for that. It starts off with an ESRB rating, which means we're gonna be seeing gameplay footage. But I don't think that really means anything. They're just gonna be like talking about game titles, so
Your host,
they're not
TTV,
gonna
and we
announce
have a
anything,
very
is what I'm
special
saying.
episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about.
I'm still, I'm still in good graces with Phil. On the Xbox side of things, Sarah Bond's really cool, and it makes sense that she got promoted in her position. Uh, I'm in the fuck Matt Booty stage right now because he made a very tone deaf, disgusting post after the layoffs, and you know what? Just fuck him.
Game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So, where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision.
By the way, just probably doesn't matter after the fact on YouTube, but I am only live streaming this on Twitch. I do live stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Oh, I should say I'm live streaming Instagram as well, but I don't really that as much. So this is just on Twitch. Then after this is done, I'm going to switch over and then be live on Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. I shouldn't have paused it for that. I don't know why that matters, but
decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our
4 games.
kind of fundamental exclusive strategy.
Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, I'm guessing from the rumors
for some specific reasons. We make every
Hi-Fi
decision
Rush.
really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators.
Oh, Gears of War was the other
rumored
one.
As many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games
have
announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements.
That means Nintendo Direct. They're saying other platforms. There's 2. There's 2 major ones in the console space. Granted, Xbox is in the PC space and the mobile space now because that's they said the whole reason why they wanted the Activision Blizzard acquisition is to be more competitive in the mobile space. So they're specifically doing this podcast though for the console gamers that are all up in a frenzy online right now. So when they say they have plans, it's a Nintendo Switch Direct. There's a Nintendo Switch Direct that's been rumored for a long time. It makes sense that these rumors are being leaked now. It makes sense that Xbox is getting ahead of it because they know that they're going to be announced on this Nintendo Direct soon. The one thing I did read today, or that I heard about today, is that the Nintendo Direct was supposed to happen soon. Like, I don't know, maybe today or tomorrow. Probably not today. Maybe today? I don't know. A lot of people are expecting like Thursdays for Nintendo Direct. But it's not happening, obviously, today. I guess the rumor is it was supposed to happen, but because of all this Xbox news, they decided to delay it and push it. Now, I don't know how that fucks things up for other developers and publishers, though, because maybe somebody had like a plan. Hey, demo's out today for this game, or hey, you can play this title now, or you can pre-order today. That kind of thing. Or we launched the website, you can check it out now. That derails everything. So I don't know how true that is, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think it is pretty likely.
With the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about?
The big rumor was Indiana Jones after it was announced, which I think makes sense. It's a Bethesda title, and I think when they were in court, Sony kept bringing up, and other people kept bringing up, oh, Xbox said that Bethesda games are not going to be console exclusive. They're always going to be multi-platform, which Xbox never said, by the way. I don't think anybody's I think people have brought up where that was misconstrued, or Sony might have got it from somewhere else, like rumor or like somebody implying that it was, but Xbox has never actually officially said that. But they were bringing it up in courts as if it was fact. But there was good points in them saying oh, hey, the Activision Blizzard stuff is still going to be multi-platform. It's well, you didn't do the same thing for Bethesda, and the Bethesda games before were multi-platform. And I'm sure the studio wants things to be multi. I think it was actually a story stuff got leaked the studios were thinking that they were still making games multi-platform, and then Xbox said no, you're making it console exclusive now. I could be wrong, I might be misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that before. So I think this is important. It's a Bethesda title, so kind of bring back faith with gamers or something, to say, yeah, the Bethesda titles are going to be multi-platform again. But it's a single-player game. It's a big game. It's one of the most hyped games for Xbox right now. Why would it be multi-platform? Of course, it's going to be on Xbox. Call of Duty, big multi-platform cross-play game that's everybody's playing it, and most people are playing it on PlayStation. That's why you want to put it on PlayStation, or that's why you want to put it multi-platform, right? So I think it depends on the title and where the gamers are and what makes the most sense for Xbox. So I think Phil's making sense
About
there.
selecting those 4 titles.
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years,
Starfield, I don't know why they keep it on
exclusive
Xbox, to be
games,
honest.
games that are exclusive
Star-
to
is
one piece of
Starcell-
hardware
Starfield's
are
selling
gonna
a
be
lot of
smaller
consoles?
and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and
At least
PC
a year.
for
That's
while.
good. That's
A
kind
couple
of
of the
assume.
games
Yeah.
are community-driven games, new games that kind of
Sea of
first
Thieves.
iterations of a franchise that have reached their full
Sea of
potential,
Thieves.
let's say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth.
Sea of Thieves.
Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of
Thieves.
having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other
2 of them,
platforms
okay.
and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great.
Sea of
for the
Thieves is the
business,
obvious
great for the
one.
communities,
I
more
don't.
players.
None of the other ones I don't think fit that description.
I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusive.
Hi-Fi
and all
Rush,
the
Pentiment.
fanfare that goes
Hi-Fi
around
Rush
that.
Pentiment.
But games that our team
What's the
really
fourth
wanted to
one, then?
build, that we love supporting creative endeavors.
So
across
Sea of
our
Thieves,
studios,
Hi-Fi Rush, and
regardless of
Pentiment.
size. And as they've realized their full potential on
It's
Xbox
community-based
and PC, we
Xbox
see an
game.
opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to
see.
just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind.
I don't think
these
it's
4
Halo,
games.
Gears,
Last thing I'll say,
Forza,
looking forward,
Grounded.
I think there is an
Grounded.
interesting story for us of introducing
it.
Xbox franchises.
That's
to
totally
players
grounded.
on other platforms.
Sea of Thieves,
to get them
Grounded,
more
Pentiment,
interested in
Hi-Fi Rush.
Xbox.
Those are the
We
4
think
games.
There's a good brand value.
Bingo
for
card
Xbox
right there.
So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games, games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them
Hellblade,
accessible to, hundreds
Indiana
of millions
Jones.
of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
Mm-hmm. And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are.
They're already doing that for the most part. Xbox has been like pushing that. They've been championing that. They're the reason why, like Phil specifically, he's the only one who's been vocal like, hey, we would love to do this. And you know what? We're going to start doing it. So we're doing it. Nintendo's doing it. Why not? And PlayStation's the only holdback, and then everybody's like, why? And like, PlayStation. And that put the pressure on PlayStation, because PlayStation didn't have anything to benefit from cross-platform play. They're the only ones. Everybody else only benefited from it. You know, PlayStation being the top dog in this race here, right? So why would PlayStation do that? Well, because enough people put pressure on them. It's because Xbox started that conversation, right? I mean, the gamers started that conversation. Xbox really kind of like pushed it further, right? So they're already doing this. All these games are like cross-platform now, cross-play. That's like a new standard. And I know it only happened recently, and not every game is doing it. Not every publisher is doing it. It's not a guaranteed thing, but it's now to the point where it's an expectation. It's a new standard. If you're not doing that, why? Why are you not doing that? Why are you, um, like crippling your game and your platform now, as they're referring to it? Why would you do that to yourself when this is obviously how you need to be going forward with this, right? But
are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which
that's
I'm
a good one to
super,
start
super
with,
excited
yeah.
to share today.
Wait, when?
And it's all part of our March 28th, which I'm
March 28th. Okay. Next month. That's a good one to start with, but this was expected. This is, like we're not gonna put everything out day one. There's a lot of things we need to do to get that rolling, and we've been busy fighting in court. But that makes sense to have Diablo, and that's cool because I've been interested in playing Diablo 4, but never did. But also like as at a time where I was like, I'm not buying anything from Activision Blizzard anymore. Screw them. So there's no reason for me to want like I had no interest in like or motivation to do that. But it seems like a game that I would like having it on Game Pass. I don't have to pay anything, and I can do co-op with other people who like the game. So cool.
super, super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make the Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this.
I think it's
That
Xbox
makes
One.
it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
To that point, I don't know. Like I'm not on Twitter, but I've seen things, you know. So I see the conversation. Um, you know, Xbox does this. Oh, Xbox is over. There's no point of buying an Xbox. We'll buy the other guide and we'll play the games on there. Which, to be fair, they're not doing what people were assuming they're doing. But I'm like, why is this? So do that. Why does this matter? Like for me, am I gonna stop? Like I don't. I'm not in 2004, right? I'm not. It's not that time anymore. I'm not buying my game at GameStop, like waiting in line buying the disc anymore. No, Xbox, you know, pushed the digital platform here, and I jumped in when that started. I jumped in before that started because Xbox wasn't doing that until like a year or so later. They're doing the Xbox arcade games. I think if I'm remembering correctly, my Xbox 360 days. But I remember there was like a push, like yeah, there's like differences. There's the digital games, there's the physical games, and I was like, well, maybe everything's digital, right? So I was already invested in that ecosystem. I'd started buying my digital games there. Xbox Live was just killer. That's where all my friends were. That's where everybody's playing. So naturally moved to Xbox One, moved to Series. Now granted, I play everything. I have everything, but most of my library, except now on PC, but most of my library otherwise is on Xbox, right? Them saying, "Oh, hey, we're gonna be releasing all the games on PlayStation," doesn't make me go, "Well, I'm gonna throw this in the trash and buy a PlayStation." I mean, I already have bought a PlayStation, but like for like let's say if I was only doing Xbox, right? They say, "Yeah, we're gonna be releasing our games on PlayStation." I'd be going, "Good, more people can play those games." I'm still gonna play them on Xbox because that's where all my games are. That's where I bought them. That's where I'm invested in, right? And they said we're not gonna change that. You're still gonna be playing games on Xbox, and you get Game Pass, and all of our first party games are gonna be on there. Why would I like? I have no incentive to go buy PlayStation. Why? Because their games might be playable on a PlayStation, and then also I get PlayStation games. But all the games I already bought are already on Xbox, and I still get to play those games on Xbox. I don't know, like even for me, like thinking, what does PlayStation have? Well, first of all, this year, nothing, fucking nothing. They straight up came out today or yesterday and said, hey, by the way, 2023, we got fucking nothing. Don't expect anything. Everything's, I mean, 2024, I'm already losing it. 2025 is when we're gonna have the games, and they're gonna be live service. That's PlayStation's literal announcements this week. They said nothing this year, and then next year, all live service games, baby. This is what you've been asking for, right? So, the games that they have released, for the most part, except for the one I just finished playing, the reason why I bought this stupid thing, it's plugged in, that's why I don't have. There you go. The Spider-Man game, which will eventually be on PC. All their games have been on PC. So why am I buying a PlayStation? You know, I got Xbox. Those games that I bought on Xbox are also on PC, and they're Play Anywhere. So I bought them once. I can play them on PC, and I get Game Pass. I have Game Pass Ultimate, play it on console or PC. And then the PlayStation games, play them on PC. Like, I don't know. I think it depends on who you are, where you play, what you do, you know, and where you're invested in, where your friends are, and what kind of benefits that hardware has for you. Which, by the way, PS5 and Xbox Series X, not very different. You know, they're very similar. There's slightly differences between the two, which isn't going to be making a huge deal. The only difference is going to be the Series S. That's what's and to be fair, the Series S is sort of to the detriment of the Series X. We're now learning. Before, the promise was there's no difference. You just get a lower resolution and then blah 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 blah. But now we're realizing, you can't have the performance and game that you want on Series X because we had to dumb it down for the Series S to make it playable, and they need to run the same on both platforms. That's what we're seeing more and more lately. So that's the reason why Baldur's Gate 3 took so long to launch and everything. And who knows how many other games that's affected, right? So Series X is really the only, or Series S is the only really real difference. And it's sometimes to the detriment of Series X, but in terms of hardware capabilities, I think Xbox and PlayStation are basically the same console. But there's going to be a point where Xbox is going to go, okay, Series S no longer going to be a deciding factor. Like, some games might not run on it, and I realize that now. I have a Series S, love it, it's perfect for me, and it plays everything I want to play. I don't think maybe there's a few exceptions in game development where this thing's an issue, but I think for the most part things run, right? But there will be a point where that's not possible anymore, and then Xbox is going to release a new Series S that's more, or whatever they want to call it, that's more in line with the capabilities of the Series X. What was Phil's point? I went on a tangent there. I already forget what he was saying. Let's see here.
My understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox is
yeah, the point was like people saying like I just don't understand people's frustration. So great games are going to be available to more people. You as a gamer, why are you not happy about this? I'm happy about this. It's such a console wars mindset mentality. I see it from a mile away every time. This is like, anytime somebody brings up shit like this, like, oh yeah, you bought an Xbox, it's your first console, whatever, it's all you can afford, it's all your parents bought you, you defend your purchase, and now Xbox is saying, oh yeah, by the way, we're putting these things on the other platform. So I get it, you're upset. It's like, I wish I would have bought the PlayStation. But but you're still playing those games. You still have access to those games. Just more people are going to be playing those games. So it's some people buy multiple consoles. I don't think it matters. Like, for me, it doesn't matter to me. If more people get to play a great game, then that's better for gamers. If the game that you purchase, if you only purchase the console just to play that one game, and now it's on another console where you could buy other games, then that's just something that just affects you personally. And it's just like, it's just buyer's remorse. It's just like anything. Like, I bought this stupid, I don't have it in front of me. I bought a Amberneck console. I have a Game Boy mod here instead because I can't hold it. And then after I bought it, Retroid announced a newer Retroid thing that I was like, I wish I would have a little bit and bought that instead, because it has like some of the features I would want. It's just regular buyer's remorse. Like, I don't like, how's that bad for the gaming industry? More people get to play games, and you get choice. Then I get you can't go out and buy another PlayStation. I don't know. Maybe when you play those games and you're done with them, sell the console, buy the PlayStation. I don't know but like, I don't think that's like a huge big deal. I don't see like the whole like outrage over it. It's like, oh my god, now Xbox is over. No, Xbox is gonna do just fine. Microsoft is gonna do just fine. Don't worry about Xbox. They're not going away. Just more people are gonna be playing the games.
we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is,
And just to reiterate something, I've always felt exclusives are stupid. I've always felt that, especially now more than ever. Sure, back then there's an argument for it. Now more than ever, exclusives are stupid. I hate exclusives. I don't give a shit about exclusives. Like, oh, that game's exclusive? That's stupid. I'm not gonna buy a console for it. I mean, I did. I bought the PlayStation for. Sure, but I'm just saying it's stupid. Exclusives are stupid. And for the most PlayStation games, I'm like, oh, cool, it's out on PlayStation. I'll wait till it's out on PC. Like it's been my thought process most of the way. I'm like, it's stupid that it's just on PlayStation. Why don't they release it on PC? I'll just wait. But I was on the high of Spider-Man, and then I was also like, I was pushed. Like, my cousin kind of like hyped me up to get the PlayStation, and I was like, I don't know if I really need it. It's just one game. He's like, I don't know, I'm buying it right now. You gonna be buying it with me? And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do it. So that's just like snap decision. But for the most part, I'm just like, I'll just wait. Exclusives are dumb. Just release it everywhere.
The reality, and we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're
They
one
already
of the
do
largest
this.
publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable
don't
business.
fucking gaslight the problems you created, you know? That's kind of disgusting. That's kind of disgusting, Phil. I mean, I guess he's gaslighting himself in a way, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's the problem is you spent all this money on a major acquisition. Gave everybody gave all the top dogs promotions, bonuses, and then fired the what they called, I don't know why I'm blanking on the word, like the redundancies. Which I get, you just had an acquisition, and a lot of people had similar roles. It's like, well, why are you here? Because we don't need two people for this one thing. But it's like, just gave yourself a bonus, and you're gonna cut people's jobs. So I don't know. I feel like that's kind of disgusting.
For ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large, and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where's
exactly what I've been
where's
saying.
that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
I don't
When we
think
think about
exclusives matter anymore, unless you're like brand new into the space. But even then, it's just like, I feel like most people have their mindset and like, well, I'm doing this because I want to play this one thing that everybody's talking about and all the people I know are talking about, and it looks fun. Or I've seen a commercial for it, or some celebrity I watched talked about it, Or you're a kid, and playground or your friends or whatever are all talking about this one thing and you want to join into it. I mean, that's how I got into Pokemon on the Game Boy and N64 games, all this other stuff. If you're like brand new into the space, right? But I feel like you have that one game mindset. And I don't know if it's going to be like the exclusive that's like selling you there. Because I feel like for most people nowadays, that's going to be a major thing that's free to jump into. That's your Fortnite. That's the Apex Legends. That's, whatever's popular right now. I don't know anymore. But yeah, it's gonna be like the Fortnites and those kind of games, right? And at that point, it's like, oh, that's everywhere, and you can just jump in for free, or like there's like a trial or whatever. Like I don't know if it's like there might be those like rare cases, like you're a huge Indiana Jones fan, you're not into gaming, but you hear like there's a really good Indiana Jones game. Or I guess Last of Us is a better example. But like that's on the Xbox side. Like maybe you want to buy an Xbox for that. But you might already have a PC. You might want to play it on PC. Same thing with The Last of Us. You just watch the HBO show. Like, cool. I'm not a gamer, but I want to play the game. Or maybe I want to play like the second part of the game, see what I'm into for the second season. You're jumping into PlayStation just for that. Again, also on PC. So I feel like even in like those cases, there's still like multiple ways to get in. So I think those are outlier situations. I don't think most people, especially like gamers who have been gaming, right, are looking at it and saying like, what console do I buy based on the exclusive? Now I know that's not every case. There's still a lot of people that go out, buy their games on disc. They just buy the console, play the games. They're done. They sell it. They sell their collection, move on, invest it in the next thing. I get that. This industry is still in that space. It's still built to support that type of gaming lifestyle if that's how you're still playing those games. But I feel like most people now, especially good internet connection, I guess it depends where you are and everything too. I feel like most people have moved on from that. Like most people are not living the VHS days; they're living the Disney Plus days, right? They're living the Netflix days. So, I don't know. I don't think that for, and I could be wrong. I don't feel that the exclusives are what's the selling factor anymore. It's other things. Game Pass, it's where your friends are, it's where your digital library is, it's what that platform can offer you aside from the exclusive games. Because all the major stuff is multi-platform. All the huge stuff that is like jumping on points is like those are free. Um, I don't know. I just don't. I feel like exclusives are dumb. It's just where I bring it back down to.
On the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like crossplay, cross progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Palworld. You know, Palworld was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket
Yeah, but
Pair,
no, would be a better argument for that if you're using Power as an example. I get why she's bringing Power World up because that's the hotness right now, right? That's the big one. But Xbox is the inferior platform to play it on. Granted, you get it with Game Pass, right? And maybe that's like the selling point. Oh, I get the console, I get Game Pass, and not only can I play Power World, I can play a bunch of other games for like a whatever the price is for the month, right? Sure, I get that. But it's a game preview on Xbox, whereas it's the release on Steam. And it's not crossplay. It's not cross-platform, you know. It's or cross progression or anything. At least right now, I know it's in the works. But like that kind of hurts your argument with a game like that. But I get why she's bringing that up. That's the new hotness right now.
was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview, we have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things.
By the way, Power World will 100% not be on Game Pass forever, and if they can choose to do it, I imagine they will pull it from Game Pass as soon as they possibly can. I'm sure there's like a contract they have to be on there for so long, but that was kind of like a throwaway release. I don't imagine Xbox is like push to have them as like as long as possible on Game Pass, right? Because nobody, not even Pocket Pair, expected the success that Power World had. So they can make it on their own. They can become another Epic, you know, if they play their HAL cards right or whatever you want to call them. We'll see what they call them after they get sued from Nintendo. But you know, they're going to be a huge success. They're going to be a huge business from this. They don't need Game Pass anymore. They don't need Game Pass right now. People are talking about it, right? But Game Pass definitely helped them get popular. They don't need to be on Game Pass anymore. So it will be eventually leave Game Pass for sure, like Mark my words.
And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the game.
Yeah, for now though, because again, PlayStation's all you're buying PlayStation for the single player games, right? That's what PlayStation's known for. Now Sony's investing heavily into the live service stuff. When you have all of those, if any of those hit, if they're like a big hit for PlayStation, which I don't like, I'm in the mindset that most of them are gonna fail, and like Sony is gonna like be wasting money on this investment because most live service games do fail. That's what we are seeing time and time again, right? There's just odd hits. There's a couple hits that you got to be lucky to make that successful. But not everything's going to be a Fortnite, and in fact, most things are not, and most things fail within a short period of time. Look at Knockout City. Look at Hyperscape or whatever Ubisoft's thing was. Like look at so many examples of what's like come out to try to be the new hit live service game that just nobody played and failed. Foam Stars is going to be the next thing. That one AI game, I did a stream of it one time. I can't remember what it's called. Where like everything's destructible. That's going to be one of them. Sony's making investments like that, right? But let's say if they have like big hits that people want to play online and come back, and there's like a community thing, more like Destiny used to be. Then yeah, this conversation might be different at that time. Like, oh, yeah, people are doing the same thing for PlayStation now, but they also have the console, right? So this conversation might be different in like a year or so. I don't know.
Games in those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that, that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced Back Compat coming to Xbox
That was a big
One.
deal,
It was
yeah.
fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games.
But I think I get what he's saying or what he's leading up to. But Xbox was also built on top of Windows, that's why everything just works so well.
That I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play.
Which again is a selling point of Xbox as a feature rather than just the games, because that's a huge like convenience feature. Your saves and everything just are always transferred. They're always on the cloud. PlayStation, you're paying a premium for that. You know, even if you're not on Game Pass, you don't have that. That's just free. That's just something that they do for you. Make sure everything's working. That's a feature of the Xbox ecosystem, not even specifically the hardware. It doesn't even matter which hardware you're on. So that's not something that PlayStation offers, and that has nothing like I feel like that kind of thing is also like kind of like a selling convenience feature. So
is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
I'm hoping I don't get like copyright strikes for doing this whole thing. It wasn't a waste of time. But yeah. Some clarification on what the plans are. So my overall thoughts, I don't really think much has changed. I don't think this is a huge deal. And I feel like people who are making it out to be a huge deal probably have watched this and I mean, I'm hoping be like, oh, okay, well, that's not a big deal. Because really, what were the games I determined? And I'm calling right now. So they didn't even say what the games are, but I think we kind of figured it out, right? It's going to be Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. I think those are the games that we're going to be seeing on PlayStation and Switch. Those games make sense. Do they not make sense? Like, I don't think people are going out and buying Xboxes for any one of those games. Like, I'd say like maybe you can make an argument for Grounded and Sea of Thieves because those are community-based games where people playing. Again, you can play it on PC. You can play both of those games on PC. So, do you really need an Xbox for that? So, they're kind of like they said, they've reached as far as they can with those games on their current platform. They need to expand it, like Fortnite has, like Minecraft, like all these other, and Xbox has a case example here in Minecraft. They're gonna have more case examples in Call of Duty and like all these other ones. So really, I think this is the logical thing that you can do. And again, they're saying like they're making these decisions based on what's best for the business side of Xbox, in the sense that how are they gonna make more money? Are they gonna grow growth? So yeah. So Indiana Jones being exclusive, Hellblade being exclusive, console exclusive, mind you. Nothing's ever exclusive anymore. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. For as long as it does, maybe they'll still want to go multi-platform. Maybe it makes more sense to put Starfield multi-platform. Maybe it makes more sense to put Halo multi-platform. Like how, like, the kind of you can make some of that argument with Halo now, but this wasn't really a big deal, and I feel like the internet overreacted for nothing, and even with that assumption, I still think it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It just means more people are going to be playing games, which I think is great. So, yeah, cool. So that's all I really have to say. This nothing about that. Yeah, this would have been an odd one to do for Spawn Trap, so I'm glad we didn't do a group reaction. I'm glad I just did like a solo reaction to this. I really didn't even know what to expect. I'm like, oh, it's a podcast? We can't do a reaction to that. This doesn't make sense. Jordan did. You'll actually see it in the MCU podcast we recorded yesterday, but that's going to be coming out soon. No, actually, I think we talked about that off camera. He was thinking about maybe joining today, if the times lined up, but they didn't. I'll be honest, I'm super tired. I don't even know if I'm gonna have the energy for Horizon. I've had a complicated day. But yeah, that's my reaction. If you want to see live streams, go follow the YouTube live link, which is youtube.com/@tillplayslive, or you can follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/tillplays if you prefer that. And if you want to be notified about when I go live on those platforms, make sure that you are following on each one of those. Make sure you turn on notifications. Make sure that you follow the Discord in the Linktree link down in the description below, as well as all the other places where you can follow me, which are on the screen here. I'm mostly active right now on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Blue Sky handle has changed, in case I've mentioned it on this platform before, if you're watching on YouTube after the fact. I'm now at tillplays.com if you want to follow me there. I'm getting way more active on there now that it's opened up and a lot more people are joining. So yeah, for the I will read and respond to chat after this. I'm making an outro here. But for the YouTube video, thanks. I'll see you next time. And be continuing playing on Twitch, and I'll be turning on the YouTube live stream as well. But for YouTube, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you live.